Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon, here on Squidcraft, Liara's patron server. So last episode we went and built up a bit of a nursery for plants, and since then I have been quite busy building up all of the main road and all of the waterways for the last part of the base, as well as marking out all of the custom oak trees. And there are a lot of them still to do. I've counted roughly 200, and there's probably more than that. But we aren't going to be working back here in the still endstone area. Instead, we are going to be headed back to the entrance area to make the area around the end gateway that takes us here a little bit prettier. Alright, so right now we just have this simple little scaffolding tower right here that leads up to our end gateway. That's how we get out of here. And we spawn in roughly about here. Now what I want to do is to make this entrance a little bit more grand looking, so that you're not just spawning in on regular endstone and there's not really much here. I also want to get rid of these end rods and hide them under probably slabs, because I don't want to go through having to terraform this whole area, especially since there are parts of this section that aren't within our base, because they are outside of the region and therefore run the risk of being reset. But what I'm thinking for this is, at least for the floor here, we're gonna have a bit of decoration. We'll do pumpkin in the center, some stripped acacia logs coming off of that. Get rid of our pillar here. We'll have to figure something out to get up there later. If we put a building around this, we won't be able to fly directly into the end gateway. I think we're just gonna go for a very orange floor pattern. I don't know why I decided to do orange. I just felt like it would work. And it's not really a palette I've built with all that much. So we've got quite a few of the orange blocks in the game in this design. I think when I came up with this pattern, I also just wanted to find a use for the regular copper, because I had an idea of what to use the oxidized copper with, but not the unoxidized stuff. And I think that these blocks work quite well. So we have a bunch of these orange blocks. We've got the shroom lights, orange terracotta, copper in 2 different forms. Let's get those corners in, because that's where we're using the waxed copper in this pattern. And a little bit of red sandstone. I really like some of these blocks, and I don't use red sandstone enough, probably because it's a bit of a pain to obtain, because you have to get all of the red sand, and then you have to craft it. You had to spend quite a bit of time in a mesa mining sand, and if I recall correctly, it's 4 sand to make 1 red sandstone. But I think that this will do quite nicely. Even just this looks much better for spawning in on. Alright, so now that the floor is in, it's time to get the walls done up. And I think for those, we are just going to use some birch stairs. We're going to have stripped birch planks going all the way up. This is going to form 2 nice big windows on the side here, one of which is 5 blocks tall. The other one is going to be 7. And we're going to fill those on the inside with spruce fences. That way we don't just have a flat sheet of glass. We'll put glass on the outside, because this is going to be a 2-layer thick wall, because I wanted to have these more decorated windows, and I felt like birch worked better with the floor than the stone type block I wanted for the outer wall. Now in the middle, we're going to have amethyst blocks going all the way up to the top there as well. I wanted to do some more with the amethyst for a while, because I kind of like the block color, and I figured this is going to be the perfect thing to do. That was not intentional. And there we go. That is the inside here done. We still are missing the roof, and of course a way to get up to the portal. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I kind of want to figure out stairs, but not sure that they'll look right in here. So I will have to figure out something. Now what we have left to do is to put on the door, which I believe I need to do that so that the one door is facing the right direction, and that will allow us to open those up, so we have a corner entrance and exit from this building, and these holes will be covered by the outside wall, which I think is going to be mostly deep slate brick walls for framing the windows, which I think I'm going to go with light blue stained glass for those, part to contrast with the orange, and because I just like the color. Now, if we take a look at this, the strip of purple here is very, very obvious. So what I think that we're going to do is we're going to make it a little smaller and kind of break it up a bit. Can I jump on top of there so I can? No. All right, let's remove that, and then we can pillar up from this. And we're just going to use these walls to add a strip of black down the middle, and that should make the bright, bright purple of the amethyst a little less noticeable and a little bit more of a highlight. Yeah, there we go. I do like that effect. It's still very much there, but it's not as in your face anymore. And that wall just adds a little bit more depth. That way we don't just have a flat wall, but all that remains basically is to finish putting these walls on. You do need to have strip down the corner because the outside is more octagonal than the inside. And we also need to get this pathwork in here. So I'm going to go finish off the building, except for the roof, because I need to figure out what I want for that, as usual. And then I guess I'll be back. And there we go. I decided to go for polish andesite for the roof, and I don't think this turned out half bad. Now we still need to get the roadway in here. I will do that in a little bit. But other than that, I think this will be a good entrance to the base. Now, I still just have a thing of scaffolding here to get up to the portal. I tried to do a staircase. I even tried to do a spiral one, and I just wasn't liking how it was looking. I might just take down the scaffolding because we do have another portal by here that's actually also within the base. So if we fly over to this island that should be rendering in here in a minute, there it is. You can see we have that portal that is missing 2 of the blocks for some reason. Is this a chunk border? Yep, that's a chunk border. Okay, thank you, chunk borders, and we're gonna get away from the Enderman. So I think, barring a sudden inspiration on how to put a stairway in there, I think that is going to wrap it up for the building. So now we just have to do the land around it, which is just hiding the end rods and the road. And I think that end stone bricks will be close enough to the end stone that it won't be super noticeable. Plus we won't have as many end rods because we don't need as many anymore. So I guess I'm going to get those all hidden and then I will be right back. Alright, so we now have all of the end rods hidden, and the road is fully in place. And I quite like how this area looks. Fortunately, I don't know why, it just looks very empty. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to mix in a little bit of sand, a little bit of regular dirt. Let's just knock out a few spots here to get a somewhat random mixture, and some coarse dirt into the end stone here. And hopefully that should work to disguise the end stone bricks, because although your eye does kind of glance over them a bit, they are still also very noticeable. So maybe having all the other textures will help blend those in a bit better, or at the very least, that's what I'm hoping. Now around here, I'm gonna have a few coarse flowers that I think we're just gonna do that, because apparently if you put string over them, they don't grow up. So we will have a coarse flower just like that forever. If we want some of the full-grown textures, we can put string around it above and diagonally. So if we do the same thing with the string on top and make a cross out of it, and then remove the center one, preventing it from growing, that will eventually age. I'm sure I can time that to be the right age I want later. And we're also going to mix in a few of these dark oak saplings. Now, since they are 4x4, we don't have to worry about them ever growing up. And I might toss in a couple of the dead bushes and some dandelions. The dandelions are mostly just to add a little bit of color because there's so much color inside the base here. that this really looks kind of barren. So I figured why not add a little bit more color. And besides, the yellow kind of works with the end stone anyway. So I'm going to go terraform a little bit of this space up. And then I guess I'll be back to show off the end result. All right. And there we go. We've got just about this entire front part done. I skipped way down there because, well, for one, that area is not lit up anyway. And two, you're really not going to see that part unless you're up here, you look down over the edge. Now there is this area over here that I haven't finished. Ooh, apparently there is a glow lichen over here I missed. Ow. Anyway, the main part of the area is all done. We just have these 2 layers here that need work. But I am just about out of chorus flowers. And those are definitely, as I was saying, and those are definitely hard to get. I have no clue where I might find more. But I am quite happy with this. I didn't put the daffodils in. I might still. I haven't quite decided. I think this looks just fine on its own. And I'm quite happy with it. I can stop walking to cactuses. But there is one more piece we need to do for our entrance. And for that, we need to leave this part of the end. And that part is not here on the main island either, because as you can see, we have 1 new portal open, but only 3 dragons have been fought this season, so we aren't really doing an end hub apparently. So there's no real point in decorating our portal any more than it already is. Instead, the area I want to work on is our path here to the Nether Portal that leads to the stronghold. And for that, I have some ideas. I think we're going to start with a layer of endstone bricks here. Now I think every so often we're going to have some detail work, which is going to be a couple of purple pillars that are going to bookend a little alcove containing some end rods and a little design with endstone and purple. So let's do 2 rows of purple pillars going up. And then we'll go back into the block for the alcove and put in some end rods behind magenta glass, which we will put in once we get the sides of this alcove here detailed up, because I don't want to be able to see the netherrack. And I'm just now noticing we need to knock out the blocks behind the end rods. So what I think we'll do for that is we will put purple there. We'll do the top and the bottom and that middle row of endstone. And I think that should provide a nice bit of interest here. We do need to figure out what we're doing on the bottoms and the tops of those, because we will be able to see through the glass. But I might just make that regular endstone since we are, of course, going to the end. I'll also figure out some sort of detail with end rods and purple to go between the pillars. Basically, we're trying to make this very clear that this is the route to the end portal. And also use up some of the end bricks that we have laying around the base. I have a bunch of these. I don't need them all. We are getting very close to 42 shulkers of endstone. So using some of it up on this is going to be quite nice. So I'm going to continue playing with this. And I guess I'll be back to show you what I eventually end up with for this tunnel. Alright, there we go. This is one completed tunnel. I'm not quite sure about leaving the blank space between the 2 end rods. Maybe I'll get a shulker head or something and center it in there. I also considered grabbing a few item frames and some elytra and sticking those in the back there. But I think it looks just fine as it is. We still have the exit here, which I did kind of have decorated as the same as everything else. But I think this is going to look just fine for a short little nether tunnel. We aren't really going to be going down here much. I don't think a lot of people are going to be going, hi Enderman, down here much at this point in the server, because the end of the season is not far away. And so I think with that is about all the time I have for today. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. So thank you all so much for watching, If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.